Welcome back to another deck profile video, Tamers. In today's video we are covering Metalgarurumon X-Antibody. This is just an updated take to essentially deal with the more recently released decks in the game. There are no BT18 Metalgarurumons in this deck, just mainly because I don't have them. But at the same time, I've kind of prioritized the level 6s to deal with on deletion effects. So we're going to dive straight into this. So starting with our Digi-Eggs, we are running 4 of in total. We've got Wanyamon from BT11, we're just running 3 of those. If you have a blue Tamer in play, you draw 1 card when attacking. The Bukamon essentially allows you to give your Digimon jamming, so long as your opponent doesn't have any Digimon with as many or more Digivolution cards as that Digimon, which is why it's obviously been restricted to 1, because it's a stupidly strong card. But they're the 4 eggs that we're running. Now moving on into our rookies, the first set of rookies we're running 3 of the BT5 Gabumon, which essentially reveals the top 3 cards from your deck, and you get to add 1 Digimon card with Garurumon in its name, and 1 Digimon card with the Omnimon in its name. Anything that you don't choose naturally gets bottom decked. But it's just a good 3-off to have, especially as it's a dual searcher, so you're most likely to find that Omnimon sooner rather than later. But moving on from this searcher, we are next playing a full set of the Gabumon from BT15, which only comes with a start of main effect, but as part of that effect, 1 of your Digimon gains blocker until the end of your opponent's turn, and then if you have a Tamer with Matashida in its name, you get to draw a card. It's inherited to once per turn when attacking effect, but you draw 1 card. This is essentially the card you want to be digivolving in your hatching area in turn 1 and then raising in turn 2. Next up, we run a full set of the Gabumon X-Antibody from BT9. Digivolves over the Gabu for 0 cost, has both an on-play and when digivolving effect, but you reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. You add 1 card with the Garurumon or Omnimon in its name, and then 1 X-Antibody option card among them to your hand. Naturally, again, you bottom deck the rest of those cards. It's just a solid 4-off to have, especially if you are bricking. At least then you can just hard play it if you need to. The last rookie that we are playing in this deck, however, is the one-off Gabumon X-Antibody from EX8, restricted for obvious reasons thanks to purple. But on play and when digivolving, you get to reveal the top 4 cards of your deck. You add 2 cards with the Garurumon or X-Antibody in their names to your hand, place the rest of the cards at the bottom of the deck, and then you trash 1 card from your hand. Its inherited essentially is just battle protection, where you can remove 2 non-Digi-Egg cards from your trash to the bottom of the deck to prevent the deletion. Next up, our champions. We are running a full set of the BT15 Garurumon. When digivolving, if you don't have Matashida in play, you can play it with the cost reduced by 3. But the first part of this effect, however, is if you do have the Matashida in play, you get to draw a card. So when attacking is exactly the same as the BT15 Gabu. When attacking once per turn, it's draw 1 card. So it goes very well with the Matashida, which I'll show you later. We're also running a 2-off of Garurumon from the promotional line. Essentially, it's when attacking is not once per turn, so every time you swing, you're guaranteed to draw a card, so long as your Digimon has Garurumon in its name, which it pretty much will up until its level 7s. But I did opt to run 3 of these, however, the deck can sometimes draw way too much, so just having 2 of these is, I think, plenty. Next up, we have Garurumon X-Antibody from BT9. This one only comes with an inherited effect, but ultimately if it has Garurumon or Omnimon in its name and would be deleted in battle, you may trash 2 cards of the same level in this Digimon's Digivolution cards to prevent that deletion. Still a very good card generally. However, due to the restriction of the other variant, naturally these will stay in this deck. But speaking of the variant, we're now going to move on to that one now. And ultimately, it's always going to be a one-off until Bandai unrestrict this one. But when digivolving, draw 2, then trash 2 cards in your hand. If you have Garurumon or X-Antibody in its sources, you gain 1 memory. Its inherited is exactly the same as the Gabumon X-Antibody, so instead of trashing from sources, you instead remove 2 non-Digi-Egg cards from your trash to the bottom of the deck to prevent any battle deletion once per turn. So yeah, it's just a very good card. Next up, we got our ultimates. We're going into Garurumon territory now. So EX1, when Digivolving, you just draw one card. When attacking, once per turn. If you have 8 or more cards in your hand, you gain 1 memory. This actually goes very well with the Omni Blitz, as well as the other Omnimon we'll showcase in a second. I truly feel that memory gain is quite important for this deck, so naturally I'm running a 4 of and it seems to work. The next Garurumon we're playing is from the promotional line. This one is obviously restricted still. Bandai, you need to unrestrict this please. But when attacking, once per turn, if Garurumon is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, you unsuspend this Digimon. Additionally, its inherited effect is if you have 8 or more cards in your hand, this Digimon gains security attack +1. Very good for the OTK in this deck, but understandably, we're now limited from this. The next set of ultimates we're playing are 2 of the Garurumon X-Antibody from EX5. When Digivolving, you by trashing 2 cards in your hand, you can unsuspend this Digimon, and then if it's got Garurumon or X-Antibody in its sources, you may return 1 Digimon card with Garurumon or X-Antibody in its name from your trash to the hand. It's inherited when attacking once per turn, but if this Digimon has Garurumon or Omnimon in name, by trashing 1 card in the hand, you can unsuspend it. So it's just very good to have 2 of. Next up, we're running into our Megas now. So this is where the on-deletion element comes in. But when Digivolving, with the EX1 version, it's gain 1 memory for every 4 cards in your hand. When attacking, if you have 8 or more cards in your hand, and a Tamer in play, return 1 of your opponent's Digimon with an on-deletion effect to the bottom of the owner's deck, and then trash all of the Digivolution cards of that Digimon. It's very good for clearing all Digimon really with on-deletion effects, and it avoids them activating such effects. The next I'm running just simply as a one-off. I think it's a good little tech to throw in, but it's from BT5. It's when Digivolving is if a Digimon card with Garurumon is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, you may return 1 of your opponent's Digimon with a non-deletion effect to the bottom of their deck, again trashing all of the sources. But it also comes with an inherited effect of when attacking once per turn, you gain 1 memory. Next up, we've got our Metalgarurumon X-Antibody from BT9. So this costs 1 over the top of a Metalgarurumon. But when Digivolving, you unsuspend this Digimon and it gains blocker until the end of your turn. Until the end of the opponent's turn, and then your turn once per turn. But when this Digimon becomes unsuspended, if it's got Metalgarurumon or X-Antibody in its sources, you can return all of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest level back to the owner's hands. Next up, we've got the EX5 variant. So in this case, when Digivolving, if it's got Metalgarurumon or X-Antibody in its sources, until the end of your opponent's turn, all of their Digimon gain when attacking lose 4 memory, so it's an overpowered Ice Wall. It also comes with a when attacking effect. By returning 1 Digimon card from your trash to the bottom of the deck, delete 1 of your opponent's Digimon with the same level as that card. So it doesn't quite deal with on-deletion effects, but still a very good card generally. Next up, we've got our level 7s. Naturally, we're using the one-off BT5 Omnimon. When Digivolving, gains Blitz. When Digivolving, unsuspend this Digimon. All turns, when an opponent's effect would delete this Digimon or return it to the hand or deck by trashing 1 level 6 Digimon card in its sources, you can prevent this Digimon from leaving play. Essentially, this is your game killer. You want to use this card to kill the game. Next up, we have Omnimon X-Antibody from BT10. This would Digivolve on top of the Omnimon for a cost of 3. Alternatively, if it has X-Antibody, naturally you're going to reduce that by another 2. When Digivolving, you return all of your opponent's Digimon with the highest levels back to the bottom of their decks in any order. And it also comes with a second when Digivolving or when attacking once per turn effect, but by placing an X-Antibody card or a level 6 card from this Digimon's sources, you can reveal the opponent's security stack and remove 1 of those cards. Next up, we have 2 of the Gabumon Bond of Friendship Ace card, which is a stupidly good card. It's got both an on-play and when Digivolving effect of returning 2 of your opponent's Digimon with as many or fewer Digivolution cards as this Digimon to the bottom of their deck, and then when attacking once per turn, if you have a Tamer, this Digimon unsuspends. Additionally, it can Digivolve over the top of a Gabumon for a cost of 3 as long as you have 2 or fewer security cards. Next up are Tamers. We are running just 2 Cool Boys from BT9. On play, you reveal the top 3 cards of the deck, and you add 1 Digimon card with X-Antibody in its traits, and 1 option card with X-Antibody in its traits among them, and then place everything else at the bottom of the deck. Your turn effect: when one of your Digimon digivolves into a same level Digimon with X-Antibody in its traits, you may suspend this Tamer to gain 1 memory and draw 1 card. Its security effect is naturally to play this card. The next Tamer we're running a free of Matt Ishida from BT15. Its on-play effect allows you to reveal the top 3 cards of the deck. You add 1 card with Gabumon or Garurumon in its name, and then you place the rest of the cards to the bottom of the deck. It's your turn effect. When one of your Digimon's effects adds cards to the hand, by suspending this Tamer you can gain a memory. It's a really, really good card in combination with the BT15 Garurumon and BT15 Gabu. Next up is going to be our option cards, but we're running just 2 off of X-Antibody from BT9. I mean, if you're not familiar with this card, essentially you place this underneath one of your Digimon without the X-Antibody card already, and then its inherited effect is ultimately when attacking you can then digivolve into a Digimon with the X-Antibody trait for its cost. Security effect is you gain 1 memory and then add this card to the owner's hand. The next option cards we're running a full playset of Blue Scramble. This card is so good in this deck, but you pay the cost, and then you can digivolve one of your Digimon into a blue Digimon card with the cost reduced by 3, and then you leave this in your battle area. And then if your opponent has a Digimon at the start of your next turn, you activate Delay, you return 1 blue Digimon card from your trash to the top of the deck, and then you get to play a blue Digimon card with the cost of 2000 EP or less. But that's it. That's our 50 card deck. So as always, thank you for watching the video. Here's the deck profile on the screen now. Feel free to use it. And by all means, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment underneath to let me know what your thoughts are on the deck, or what you ultimately would change. But as always, it's always appreciated when you watch these videos. So I'll see you in the next one, and take care.